Today I'm going to be making 5 Animal Crossing ornaments, and we're going to start off with Isabel because I know she's everybody's waifu. Somehow Isabel was the hardest of them all to make. Something about layering her hair was really confusing to me. I eventually did figure it out, but I think I ended up making it a little more complicated for myself than I really had to. I think the thing I was most excited about with the Isabel ornament was that I was going to use actual bells for her hair tie thing. You hear that? That's the bells, and it's so cute. I love it. So, capturing her likeness and her innocence, I think, was the main thing I was looking to do with this ornament. I think she's a little weird looking in the end, but overall you can tell that this is Isabel, so I think I succeeded. When it came to her ponytail hair, I wasn't sure what exactly I wanted to do. This is where I complicated things for myself. It would have been fine if I had just done 2 layers of felt, but for whatever reason, I didn't want to do that. So instead of sewing 2 pieces together for each little clump of hair, I thought I would do the 1 piece of felt, which meant that if I wanted to get that 2 tones for her hair, which of course I wanted to do, I was going to have to sew 2 pieces of felt together without you seeing a knot, I guess. Thankfully, I already have a sort of strategy, I guess, when it comes to sewing 2 things together without seeing a knot. What I do is I sew a needle through the felt, as in inside the piece of felt, so you can't really see that there's a thread going up there, and then I can tie it somewhere else. I explained that really bad, but you saw me do it. After sewing those 2 pieces together was done, it was pretty much smooth sailing from then on out. I just sewed everything together, put her ears in, stuffed some stuffing into her to give her a little bit of a 3D effect, and that was about it. Isabel was done. Time to sew some cute characters. Next up is probably the easiest ornament out of the bunch, KK's slider, which everybody can recognize, I think, from Animal Crossing. I mean, those eyebrows are just so recognizable. No one forgets those eyebrows. They're so big. So big. Okay, so when it came to this KK slider ornament, it was really easy, but I think after I made this ornament, I realized the easier or more simple a character is, the easier it is to mess up their face. You really have to put all of your effort into that face, because if one little thing is off, the whole face looks wrong and it doesn't even look like the character. So that was a little bit of a struggle, which I realized after making the eyebrows too small. Nope, you gotta make them big. After I put his face together and was just making some minor adjustments before sewing, I realized, what if his eyebrows were really high? He looked sassy, and then you could make him look sad or you could make him look confused. Look, I had too much fun rearranging his eyebrows. They were a lot of fun to play with, but we got to put them in their normal position. But it was then that I realized just how easy it was to make KK look really sassy if you didn't put his eyebrows in the right position, so it was crucial that I made sure everything was in place before I sewed it together. Especially once I put his smile on, he looked a lot happier and less sassy. I don't know what it is about his eyebrows and his half-closed eyes, but it is the sassiest face until you put a little smirk on, and then he looks a lot more friendly. When it came to putting his name on the back of the ornament, honestly, I did get really lazy. I didn't feel like putting slider in there, so I just put KK. You know, kept it simple. It's whatever. Don't judge me. And once everything was sewn on, it was time to sew his head together and slip his ears in between, stuff him a little, and KK was done. A little lopsided, but done. Next up is probably the most recognizable character out of the Animal Crossing series, Tom Nook. Everybody hates him. He wants your money, but I mean, he gives you a house. How can you hate him? He's just trying to make a buck. Come on. Look, he will buy literally anything you bring him, so can you really get mad? You went out and caught a cockroach and he's giving you some bells for it. You gotta hand it to the guy. I think he's a really cute character. I can respect him. He's a hard worker. And I just love the style of like half-closed lazy eyes that Animal Crossing does. It's my favorite, and honestly, I can relate. So I was really excited, but also really nervous to make this Tom Nook ornament. At first glance, he looks like a really simple and easy character design until I realized that he has a lot of gradients happening, which I somewhat recently discovered that I can do with watercolor. I am 100% positive and sure that that is not the best way to do that. I'm sure some sort of fabric paint or dye would have been a lot better. But when it comes to fabric dye, you only have so many options. and I still haven't bought any. The first time I did this technique was when I did the Splatoon ornaments. I made Marina and Pearl, and they looked really good. They are still holding up to this day, so until I find out that this is the worst way to do this, I'm going to keep doing it. It does leave it really crunchy and hard, but it looks really good, so I'm really not concerned about texture. Honestly, at this point, I'm more concerned at the fact that I can't seem to sew anything on straight. One of his eyes is super not straight, and he's all crookedy. Apparently that's my signature when it comes to sewing. Oh, that reminds me, I also didn't wait until the ears were 100% dry, so when I sewed the pink part of the ear on, the thread absorbed some of that brown color, so the thread is now brown. It's not a huge deal, you can barely even notice it, but gosh dang it, if only I was just a little bit more patient. Oh well, I do think this ornament turned out really well, so I'm still happy with it. Next up is Dr. Shrunk, which is one of my favorite characters from Animal Crossing. He's not cute, he's not funny, you kind of feel sorry for him. I really relate to this character. In all seriousness, I do think the, I guess, quote-unquote ugly characters, or just the not super cute characters, are my favorite. There's just something about them that's just... Okay, I'm not gonna make the relatable joke again. I guess I just feel like there's more character to the face. There's just all these little stupid details happening, and I love it. So obviously Dr. Shrunk, he is the character in the game that gives you emotions. So you gotta hand it to him, he plays quite a good role in this game because the emotions are one of the most adorable things in this video game. Crying, happiness, excitement, all things I don't feel. Haha, oh man, these jokes. Hey, they're not funny, just like Dr. Shrunk. I told you I relate to this character. So when it came to making him, he had a lot of details, but for some reason, that's what I love about these Animal Crossing ornaments. I don't find the ones with a lot of details the hardest. I guess it's the construction of the ornament that's really hard if there's weird details, but when it comes to making the face of the character, I think the more weird details there is going on, I have a lot more fun with it because it's kind of like a challenge. I want this ornament to look like the character, and turning that into a felt representation, I guess, and just figuring out what I need to do to make things look like it. It's just really fun, it's challenging, and when the result looks just like the character, you're really proud of yourself. I know he doesn't have a unibrow, or I'm not really sure what's going on with his face. It's more of just the skin going over his eyeballs. But he does have that really thick line that I don't know how else to put into sewn form, so I just kind of stitched my way around it. I didn't want it to look like hair. It's cute, I like it, I don't even care. I love his stupid little pedo mustache. It's not a good look on a real person, but when it comes to Dr. Shrunk, I think it's adorable. Though I will say his little frills were very, very repetitive. Wasn't fun, but it looks good. And for our last character, of course, we had to bring in the season with Jingle, the special Toy Day holiday character. Basically, he's Santa, which for some reason reminds me that these are actually my first quote-unquote, I guess, special characters in the games that I've made. I have made a lot of Animal Crossing ornaments in the past, but they've all been villagers. So it was really fun to do some of the special characters that I've been wanting to do. I have a list of 20 special characters and probably over 30 villagers that I wanted to make. So you can imagine it was really hard to narrow that list down. Jingle honestly wasn't really on that list, but I thought since I'm making these for Christmas, it only makes sense to have a Christmas character. I think this is also the first representation of Santa that's going to be going on my tree. So making Jingle was fairly easy. I think this is one of the more easier characters that I've done. I think the hardest part was figuring out how to do the ears. I did want some sort of 3D-ness with the ears, and I think I was fairly successful with that. When it came to the antlers, I thought about just having a single piece of felt, but I thought that would just be a little too floppy and they would probably just kind of fall down. So it was really unnecessary as far as construction goes, but I had to do 2 layers on the ears. Nope, the antlers. Overall, something about Jingle is really unsettling. Something about his sparkling look in his eye is just really disturbing to me. Don't know what it is. And he's got that smirk and his little eyebrows are all raised up. just feel like he's up to something. Speaking of, I noticed a little something under his hat, and he has the cutest little side swoop of bangs. I didn't put them into the ornament because it was just, I feel like, an additional unnecessary detail, but look up a picture of Jingle and you will be, I think, satisfied to find that little swoop of hair that he hides under his hat. It's really cute. Speaking of cute, that is it for all 5 of these adorable ornaments. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making these. Maybe you guys can make them and share your pictures. I would love to see. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!